What's going on, everyone? This is June Archer for Motivate You, the Winner Circle here. My guest today, Ashani Mfuko, brand
Hey.
strategist, digital content creator, lifestyle influencer, professional dancer, wife, and mother of three, doing her thing. And she is here to talk about some amazing things. But I want to start at the top, and I want to ask you, you were a dancer for 20 plus years. How was that dream for you? Because a lot of people don't get to live their dreams. So for you, how was that experience and how was that journey played out way before you became a wife and mom?
Well, let me first say that I have not retired. Okay. So it's not that I was a dancer, it's that I am still a dancer. Right. And I was a dance teacher also for about 15 years. But I knew from when I was 10 years old that I wanted to be a professional dancer. And my father just poured into me. He made sure I went to Alvin Ailey, as a teenager. He gave me so many opportunities. He exposed me to Broadway and different dance companies. And, that passion was there from when I was a kid. So to be able to go to college and get a Bachelor of Arts in Dance and also in Hispanic Studies, and then to pursue my career, it has been extremely rewarding and a huge blessing for me to be able to do that. But again, I had a really good foundation because I had my dad and my family supporting me, saying, you can do this, you can do it. And so I did it. So it's been amazing. It's been awesome. Obviously, things change once you start a family and you become a mom. Like, you got to make those priority shifts. But I've always still kept dancing. I'll find a way to do it always. So it's just like a part of who I am. So it's been an amazing journey.
How important is that foundation? Because your mother was very intricate and she went to school and studied exactly what it is that you're doing. So that was an influence. And your father being super supportive. How important is it for us to be able to create that foundation and be a support system for our children who are going to want to do things other than become a doctor and a lawyer, who are now these children are very immersed in creative arts. How important is it to be that foundation and that lifeline for our young people?
You know what? It's crucial. It's crucial. I was blessed because my mom, when I first started dancing as a kid and like when I was a teenager, she wasn't really into it. She's a pastor and she had some like religious views back then. She's changed tremendously since then. But back, she has some religious views that were kind of in conflict with me dancing. Right. So it took a little bit of time for her to kind of catch on and say, you know what, this is a good thing that my daughter is a dancer, And then once she was on board with it, she was all in. But, she has her doctorate. She's a pastor. She is very well educated. And to have an example like her, someone who has, gotten multiple master's degrees, has a doctorate degree, is a pastor of a church of, 25 years. I had a really good foundation with my parents, just seeing how they lived their life and then being able to have their support in order to push me forward and say, hey, we've done some great things, but you can do even better than what we've done. That was like all the fuel that I needed. So I came out the gate with confidence. I came out the gate feeling like there's nothing that I can't do. So I'm just going to do everything that I want to do. So I think we have to really establish that type of confidence and support for our children. And, also for other kids in the community. When I was teaching dance, that's what I was for my students. I always told them, you can do anything, you can be anything. You have to be focused, you have to be disciplined, you have to work hard, but you can do it. So if you come from that environment, there's really nothing that can stop you.
And we need to do that now more than ever, when our children have so many dreams, aspirations of becoming whatever it is that they want to do. And as a dancer, you found a way to merge brand marketing, brand strategy with dancing. I want to talk about how you found that success with providing that perspective with dance companies in order to kind of boost their online presence. Like, you are a content creator. For those who are watching and listening, who have dreams and aspirations of doing other things and they're creatives, talk about how you fell in love with digital content creation and being an influencer in that field.
Awesome. So I was actively performing and teaching, and I was very active in the dance industry. And there was one thing that I noticed. I noticed that I was different from a lot of the other dancers that I was interacting with and working with. And the main difference was that I was not about that struggling artist lifestyle. I was not about that life. And so while they were trying to get gigs and more jobs and all of this, I was thinking like, I need to start a business. That's what I need to be doing, because I need to establish my own financial security and stability. Whereas I have something that's going to be consistent for me, no matter what's happening within my dance career. So I always kind of had that entrepreneurial spirit. I think I got it from my father. And I knew I have to do something more than just dancing and teaching dance. So back in 2007, I started my first business, which was an online business, and it was a dance teacher staffing company. And what I did was my company provided dance teachers and choreographers for schools and arts organizations and dance studios and math classes. They needed to hire a dance teacher or a choreographer. They came to my company to hire, right? So it's kind of like a staffing agency in the corporate world, but it was specifically for dance teachers and choreographers. That was my first kind of step into the world of owning a business and being like an entrepreneur. Through that business, I had to do my own marketing. I had to do my own branding. I had to do all of my own online presence, everything, right? And so I got very good at it. And what ended up happening was people started asking me like, Ashani, you're doing really amazing things with your business and with your marketing. How can you teach me how to do that? Can you help my dance studio? Because we're not on social media. We don't know about, digital content creation. What is that? Can you help my dance company? Can you help us establish, a powerful and profitable online brand too? And that's how it began. And once I started working with other clients and other companies and studios and things, I realized like, oh my gosh, I really have a passion for this. So I ended up shutting down the dance teacher staffing company and getting into marketing and branding consulting. And then it's kind of like the rest is history. So that's kind of where it all began. And it's been going on now for over 10 years. I've been doing this work. So it's been very, very exciting. And I think that we have to understand that when people are finding you online, you have to be putting out the messages and the content that you want people to know about you or your brand or your business. So that's your responsibility. Okay. You can't just say, oh, well, they'll find my website through Google and they'll figure it out. No, they won't. No, they won't. So you have to be very intentional about what you're creating to attract the types of clients and customers that you want to work with.
Now, what can people think about when they're creating their brand and putting that brand out online? Because once it's out there, there are ways that, like you said, people can find you, where they can find you. But what is the most important piece in creating your brand to put it out to the world?
I think the most important piece is thinking about what you want to be known for. What do you want to be known for? And what is the type of experience that you want to provide for your clientele, for your customer base, right? When they're talking about you or your company to their friends and to their family members, what do you want people to be saying about you? What do you want people to be saying about you online? So that's where you have to start. Like at the very foundation, that's what you have to think about. What do we want to be known for? And, I'm an example. I do a lot of different things, right? I hosted and produced my own dance television show. I've hosted and produced an internet radio show. We call it a podcast now, but back then it was called internet radio. And I've done so many different things. So that's great, but I have to figure out, what do I want to be known for? So you have to be very intentional about how you're communicating that and the experience that you provide for your clients and for your audience. That's what you really have to focus on, because that's what people are going to take away. And that's what they're going to tell their friends and their family. And, that's what's going to be happening online in these conversations. So you have to start there. What do you want to be known for? And what type of experience do you want to provide for your audience and for your clientele?
That's gems. That is what people need to know, because some people are just confused because they watch what other people are doing and not really having the idea how to get started, how to put one foot in front of the other. So I appreciate your 10 years of being an entrepreneur, your 20 plus years of doing what you're doing and sharing those keys to success. But most importantly, adding to your journey and your story, you have recently taken up the torch to fight in this cause that we are now facing globally. I don't want to just say it's a United States problem. It is a global problem. It's a systemic issue that we have had for quite some time, and you have created this platform, and part 2 is coming. I want to talk about the anti-racism School is in Session program that you are dropping on Juneteenth. Part 2 is coming up, but I want to talk about part 1 and why you felt it necessary to bring about this platform.
Yeah, so after George Floyd's murder happened, just like everyone else, most people, it is, I was outraged. I was angry, and I felt like enough is enough. Time for change is right now. And I said, I have 3 Black children. I have a son, and I'm thinking about their future. And I'm like, what am I going to do to make sure that they have a better future? Like, why are we still dealing with this? When I was in junior high school, we did a sit-in after Rodney King got murdered. And I'm like, I am 40 years old. And here we are again, and still are, and still have been. So I just came to a crossroads myself. And I said, I have to be able to tell my children this is happening in the world, and this is what mommy did to make it better. Okay, I have to do something. And so I was in prayer, in my prayer closet. I was going for quiet walks so I could just listen and hear what God wanted to share with me. And I was saying, God, what can I do? What can I do to make a difference? And that's when Anti-Racism School is in Session was really born. God gave me that idea. And what ended up happening was I started talking about racism in my videos. I post videos on social media every single day on my Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, and I was talking about racism. And I wasn't sure what the response was going to be. Frankly, I didn't care. I'm like, this is important, and I'm going to speak my truth. And this is what people need to know about racism and anti-racism. And I ended up getting an overwhelmingly positive response from people on my racism videos, which I was like, this is totally weird. People actually like what I'm saying about race. Okay. And a lot of my white friends, a lot of my white allies were like, yes, they're sharing it with their white family members. And it kind of like started building up all of this momentum. And so I said, you know what? Clearly, I have a way of communicating that is resonating with people. It's the same skill set that has given me success in my business is working to help educate people about racism and anti-racism. So I said, if I have this platform, I have the skill set, I have the communication style that resonates with people, then I got to put this into some sort of package and use it as a tool to really educate. So that's what I did with Anti-Racism Schools in Session. So it's an educational training series to help really educate and inform people about what racism is in this country, where it started, how we got here, and what it truly means to be anti-racist. Not just, I'm not racist, no, I got Black friends. Nope. We need you to be anti-racist. And that's really what it's all about. So I launched this webinar series. I'm doing webinars every month. This month I'm doing 2 because we have Juneteenth in this month. So I launched the first webinar. It was a huge success. Got so much positive feedback from it. And I ended up being featured on Spectrum News to talk about this new initiative for Anti-Racism School in Session. So it's been a whirlwind. But this is just literally me doing my part. That's all it is.
Well, in this situation, we've had a few questions. What can I do? Where do we start? I didn't know. What can I do to help? I want to ask you, for those who have not seen your videos, please explain to people what racism is, what prejudice is, and what discrimination is. Because I feel like some people are throwing them in the pot and they believe that they're all the same. What are the differences, and what are we looking at right now when we're talking about police brutality? So I just wanted to break that down so people get an understanding, Black, white, or Hispanic, whoever is listening and watching, that they have an understanding of what those 3 things are.
Oh, absolutely. This is so important because people keep interchanging these words and they have 3 different meanings and they're interchangeable. So we need to be clear on that. Let's be clear. Okay. So when we talk about racism, racism is a belief that one particular race has inherent superiority over another race. And then you create systems, social systems and political structures around that belief system of racism, a racist belief system. So it's a mentality, it's a belief system, but it's also something that you have social and political system to back up that belief system, right? It's founded in this racist belief system, but you need the structures and you need the political the political source also to be supporting it. So it's not only a mentality or a belief system, but it also is supported with those social and political structures. That's racism, right? An inherent superiority with the systems to back it up. Now, prejudice is when you are making preconceived judgments about something or someone with very little information, with insufficient information. That's prejudice. Now, discrimination is the action that you take, the way you treat people based on your prejudice, based on that preconceived judgment that you have about someone with insufficient knowledge. Now your actions are being determined by that. And that's what discrimination is how you act out your prejudice or how you treat people based on your prejudice. So there are three different things with three different meanings, and we need not, interchange them. And if you think about how does that connect to police brutality, and where does that all come into play? And this is why my next webinar that I'm hosting on Juneteenth, I call it Juneteenth Celebration Through Education, because education is so important. One of the reasons why we're struggling and we're not on the same page about a lot of things is because people don't know the history. People don't know. So that's why I'm here to educate. Exactly. So how that connects to police brutality, in this webinar, I'm talking about the dehumanization of Black people and how that connects to police brutality. So if you think about racism, I've said many times, we're born into a racist society, right? It's like we're born into air. We are born into a racist society. You start breathing it in from the moment that you're born, right? And then you have all of these influences within your environment, whether it's through your family, through your community, through the media, etc. You're born into it. So it becomes a part of who you are, and where you fall on that spectrum, whether you're white or Black or whatever, where you fall into that spectrum determines how you have to interact or deal with the racism, right? So when it comes to police brutality and police violence against Black people, the truth is, if we're born into a racist society and this inherent, racism is passed down from generation to generation to white people, and then white people are in different political and social systems within our country, obviously it's going to show up everywhere. It's going to show up in the criminal justice system. It's going to show up in education. It's going to show up in housing. It's going to show up in government. It's going to show up within our police force. It's almost like when I hear people say, racism has no place in our policing system in this country. These are just individualized situations. Give me a break. It's like saying there's only pee in one side of the pool. If you're in the pool and there's pee in the pool, pee is everywhere. Okay? And that's what racism is. It's everywhere. You can't say, oh, well, there's racism in the police departments and the police officers. Of course it is. It's in our whole society. So of course that's going to show up. And when we talk about dehumanizing Black people, this goes so far back. This goes so far back, and just how we are viewed. We are viewed as a threat. And when you come across a threat, obviously you're going to try to protect yourself. So if Black people are viewed as a threat, naturally you are going to try to protect yourself against that Black person, even if you're in a position of power, like a police officer, and the person is unarmed and they're contained and they're not doing anything. If you feel threatened just based on the fact that you see the color of this person's skin, and you have all of these mindsets and beliefs that you've been taught since you were born, that people who look like this, they're a threat. You watch out for them because they're dangerous, or they're criminals, or they're coming for you, then you're going to respond in that way. And I feel like that's where a lot of this really begins.
So with all those words that are being thrown out, what do you feel about the broad stroke that is being painted when it comes to law enforcement and when it comes to these men of color who are being killed? And I say that by saying, oh, well, George Floyd has been in jail before. Or Trayvon Martin was caught with drugs. Mike Brown was been in trouble with the law before. Or all cops are bad. All white cops are bad. Like, they just want to oppress you. Like, it's a broad stroke on both ends, and there should be some accountability. But what is your perspective on the broad stroke that's being painted on both ends?
Okay, so I think the most accurate broad stroke that can exist is that the policing system in this country needs to be dismantled based on what it currently is and what it has been, right? The connection to slave patrols we can still see it. We can still see it to this day. And most people don't even know what slave patrols are. So do your research. Go on to YouTube, go on to Google, do your research. Connection is still so crystal clear that it doesn't even look that different from what it is today, from what it used to be back then. So the policing system really needs to be dismantled, restructured. And that's why you keep hearing everybody saying defund the police, right? And I think that has become a trigger. And I think if you don't understand what that means, you're going to be triggered. Okay. But the reality is the way the system is set up right now is not working. Black people are being killed disproportionately to everyone else, not just white people, to everyone else. There is a danger that is there. If police are here to protect and serve everyone, then we wouldn't see these things happening. George Floyd, he would still be here. Tamir Rice would still be here. This wouldn't even be a thing. We don't even have to be having this conversation. The system is broken. So I think when we try to individualize things and say, well, it's just one bad cop, or most cops are good, or, it's not even just about the individuals. It's about the whole system. The system is broken. And just like with any other system, whether it's the education system, whether it is how we respond to people who have, mental health challenges, the healthcare system, every so often, you got to revamp. You got to break it down to build it back up into something better. And I don't know why people take that so personally. It's just like saying, I think about COVID-19, right? Most people who had to go out to work and then had to make this quick switch to work from home. Most of those jobs told people, you can't work from home. You can't do this work from home. You have to come to the office in order to work.
Right.
Then COVID-19 hit. And then it's like, okay, well, you can work from home now. Wait a second. I thought you said I couldn't work from home. I thought you said that wasn't possible. So I think about, the police system in this country. And it's like, we're not saying that we don't need any police officers anywhere. What we're saying is the system needs to be fixed. And it can't be fixed by keeping the same structure that it's currently in. We got to dismantle it, pull it apart, and then rebuild it back up into something better. Okay. So when you think about these victims, I don't really care about their character history. You think of Dylan Roof, you think of all these white men who are mass murderers, mass shootings. Okay. No one's sitting around talking about, oh, well, yeah, he used to do this and he was in jail for that. No one's, dissecting their character. They're just like, oh, he had some issues and, it's just, no, it doesn't matter. He's alive. These mass shooters are still alive. They get taken, into custody. They get food sometimes. They may get some water. They're not harmed. But Black men who are unarmed, not a threat, they somehow keep dying. They somehow keep getting killed, and Black women as well. Something ain't right. Something is not right. So it's the system of policing as it currently stands. Okay. And then it's also the issues within our society where the racism is still allowed to flourish and exist. And then the fact that these police officers can murder Black men and women with impunity, right? Are they being convicted? Are they in jail? What's happening? It's like there's nothing, there's no accountability, right? But then they want to turn on the victim and say, oh, that they had this, they had that. Wait a second, but did they deserve to die? So they had some little issue. Did they deserve to die? I mean, come on.
For me personally, I have friends on both sides, obviously. Right. I have friends and family that are in law enforcement of all different types of races, and I don't want to see them get hurt. And I have obviously Black and brown friends. I don't want to see them hurt, and I want them to be in their best life, but no one is perfect. And I feel like we could come together, communicate our differences, and understanding each other's cultures and the way we think, the way we do things. I think we could get to a better place. This Friday, the anti-racism school is in session. Is happening on Juneteenth. Where can people sign up? Where can they see it? How can they be a part of what it is that you're doing?
So all they have to do is go to my website, which is ashanimfuko.com. And the information is right there. There's actually a banner right at the top of the website that says register for anti-racism schools in session. So you just click on that and you're taken to the page to register. they would like to get access to the replay of the first webinar that I did, which was last week, they can also purchase a replay for that. And Juneteenth, celebration through education. I am so excited about this. It's a hard topic because the topic is the dehumanization of Black people and how that has led to police violence and healthcare disparities. Because, oh man, if COVID-19 has not taught us anything, it has highlighted the healthcare disparities within our communities, right? So it's a hard topic, to talk about, but I'm excited because the more people are learning, the more education that they get, the more opportunity they have to open their eyes and see things for what they really are. So they'll be in a position to say, okay, I never saw this before because I wasn't looking for it. I never saw this before because I wasn't aware of the history. I never saw this before because I wasn't really listening before. Now, no. And when you know better, you can do better.
Ashani, I appreciate you for joining us today. Let us know where we can find you, where we can follow you so that people can continue to see your movement and support what it is that you're doing.
Yes, I am Ashani Mfuko Official on Facebook and Instagram, so you can follow me on there. I post videos every day. I'm in my stories every day. I'm also on TikTok and Twitter at Ashani Mfuko, and also YouTube, Ashani Mfuko. So get connected and let's stay connected.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning in and watching. This is The Winner Circle. Motivate you. June Archer here. Thank you so much. Ashani will be supporting you. We look forward to some great things. Keep it locked right here. If you like it and you love it, share it with somebody. Communicate with somebody today. And let's get through this. We can get through this. We are better than this. And when you know better, you do better. That's Ashani, right. Thank you so much. God bless you. We love you.
Thank you, June. Thank you for having me. And I look forward to connecting with all of you. And Anti-Racism School is in session. Thank you, June.
You're very welcome.